What is going on YouTube? Lamont on the run. Today we are at HEB. If you don't know what HEB is, it is a Texas-based supermarket. I believe it is the largest supermarket here in Texas. I don't know if there's an HEB outside of Texas. I might have seen one in Louisiana, but don't quote me on that. Don't quote me. People love HEB. You will never go to an HEB that is empty. As you can see, there's a lot of people here today. And besides, also the time that I'm recording is when the time everybody's getting off of work. But enough about that. So a murder took place on December 16th of 2022 in North Philadelphia on a 3000 block of Lehigh. A 62-year-old man named Christopher Williams was fatally shot. Just another murder in Philadelphia. Yeah, it happens all the time. Except for this guy, he wasn't just a regular murder victim. No, this guy has spent almost 3 decades behind bars for 3 murders that he supposedly didn't commit. Or is it 4 murders? Or is it 6 murders? It's a lot of murders. This guy was very busy in the late 80s and early 90s. So we're gonna go back to September 25th, 1989. Police are called to a scene because there's 3 guys dead. Doesn't happen all the time in Philadelphia where there's 3 guys found shot to death together, but that day there was. The victims were identified as 22-year-old Otis Reynolds, 17-year-old Kevin Anderson, and his brother, 19-year-old Gavin Anderson. These guys were well known to the NYPD to be mid-level drug dealers. So you're a Philadelphia cop, 1989. You see, 3 dead guys. Okay, we got to solve the case, but I'm pretty sure they're not really trying seriously hard to solve the unsolved murders of 3 dope dealers. But then again, it is a triple murder, so maybe they gotta hop and skip and jump to it. You flash forward 2 months later, on November 22nd, 1989, a man by the name of Michael Hainsworth is found shot to death in his car. So we got another murder in Philadelphia. I don't know this guy's background, whatever. So we're gonna flash forward a little bit later. So this kid, James White, I think he's 19 at the time, don't quote me, 19 years old, James White. This guy is a little psychopath. I might be doing a video about him when I get back to Philadelphia later this year. So this guy is brought to the station because he is suspected of committing 6 murders, definitely 5, maybe 6. So James White is sitting in an interrogation room, and the detectives, they're like, hey, listen, you're gonna get the death penalty, kiddo. You're gonna get the death penalty. Electric chair, gas chamber, lethal injection, whatever it is that we use, you're gonna get it. And he said, listen, I know about those 3 guys from New York that were killed. I know who did it. And they're like, oh, really? Really? Well, who did it? And he said, well, I ain't gonna tell you unless I don't want to be executed. So can we make a deal? He's like, okay, listen, talk to me. What do you know? So this guy starts telling a story of 3 guys from New York, the guys that I mentioned, who came down to Philadelphia because they were looking to buy some guns. They had quite a bit of money on them, $26,000. They wanted some guns. And there was a man who was the leader of a big-time drug gun gang, whatever you want to call it, in Philadelphia. And of course, his name was Christopher Williams. So they set up a meeting time with Christopher Williams and another man, Theophilus Wilson. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I believe it's actually pronounced Theophilus or Theophilus. So Christopher Williams at that time is about 29. Theophilus is maybe 19, 20. So they meet these guys because they got guns to sell and they want that cash. But little do they know is they don't have any cash, but they still want those. They want that money. They don't got no guns for them. So supposedly James White tells the detectives that Christopher Williams and Theophilus Wilson kidnapped them in a van and methodically shot all of them and threw them out of different parts of the city. It could have either been the same, like the general same area, but maybe a block away. Each body was found. Don't quote me on that. So they go, and I guess they have enough evidence. I don't know. They arrest Theophilus and Christopher and charge them with the murders of the guys from New York. And also, they charge them with the murder of Michael Hainsworth because James White said, oh yeah, he killed that guy too. Drug stuff, gang, turf, war, whatever you want to call it. So they arrest these two guys, and on top of the 4 murders, they charge Christopher Williams being complicit with 2 murders. So it's 6 murders altogether. They go ahead and drop the 2 of the murders because it's just, very, very circumstantial evidence. But when he was testifying, James White, get this, you ain't gonna believe this. So James wanted to be a big time gangster. He wanted to be just like Chris. So Christopher tells him, all right, listen, if you want to join this gang, this is what you got to do. You got to go out and kill somebody. And he said, okay, I could kill somebody. He said, no, not just anybody. You got to kill somebody that's like innocent, that they're not involved in any gangs, criminality, drugs, all that stuff. Got to kill them. So he says, okay. So he decides to go ahead and kill a cab driver by the name of William Graham, 60 years of age. And the reason why he wanted James to kill somebody, quote unquote, innocent, was because he wanted to read it in the newspaper. So they have the trial. Theophilus and Christopher are found guilty of the 4 murders of, Michael Hainsworth, Otis Reynolds, Kevin Anderson, and his brother Gavin. So Theophilus is sentenced to life in prison. Christopher, he gets the death penalty. Later on, Pennsylvania abolishes the death penalty, so now he's just like life without parole. But Christopher has always maintained his innocence. He's like, oh, I'm innocent. He was a part of the Innocence Project, all that stuff. So in 2019, James White all of a sudden starts saying, you know what, all that stuff that I said back in 1989, that was a lie. Back in 1990, I was lying. That ain't true. I just wanted a better deal. They're like, oh, okay. And then also, during the trial, the medical examiner for the prosecution, it was determined that originally that they believed that the bodies were shot where they lie, except for in the court transcripts, James White says they were shot and then they were thrown out of the van. Now, I don't know why the hell this matters. I don't know, but I will say that it is purely circumstantial evidence that Christopher Williams was convicted of those 4 murders based on the testimony of James White, who was a murderer himself. So who are you going to believe? Okay, sounds kind of weird. Now, first, he's exonerated of the murder of Michael Hainsworth. Or was it the triple murders? I'm not sure. One of those murders he was exonerated, but he still had to serve another year, and then eventually he was exonerated of the other murder or the other murders. I'm not 100% sure in what order he was exonerated, but that doesn't really matter because he was exonerated of them. So he gets out. Now at this time he's like over the age of 60. And what do you do when you're thrown in prison at 29 and you get out and you're, turning 60? What do you do? Well, you got to get a job. You got to, try to get your life back together. You got to, make new connections with your family members. Oh, and you got to sue too. He had a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, him and his associate Theophilus Wilson. They sued everybody. City of Philadelphia. They sued the Philadelphia Police Department. They sued anybody, the DA at the time. They sued the assistant DAs at the time. So at the time, I guess he was going through the lawsuit. when he was shot and killed. Now, tell me in the comments what you think. This guy, his background does not sound like he was a very nice guy. Do you think it was retribution? Do you think he was still messing around with drugs in Philadelphia? You're a convicted felon. Where are you going to get a job at? What's Uber? What's Lyft? What? He doesn't know anything. I mean, we don't know at the end of the day what really happened. But whoever killed him, the murder currently is still unsolved. I don't think it's going to be solved. I don't think the Philadelphia Police Department are really interested in some dude that just, got snuck. They probably figure it's just retribution. Maybe he really was responsible for the killings. Maybe the James White guy, I don't know, maybe he lied. Maybe he just, I heard it on the street, but I didn't really know. I mean, James said he was there. He said he was there when they were shot, killed, thrown out of the van. So we don't really know what's going on. But we do know this, that 62-year-old man was shot and killed in North Philadelphia. And who knows? Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Was it revenge? Was it just desserts? Who knows? You be the judge. I will say this. Even though it might be a possibility that he had nothing to do with the murders in terms of him actually pulling the trigger, in some form or fashion, at bare minimum, indirectly, he was associated with a lot of criminality, drug dealing. Yeah, you don't just pluck an innocent guy off the street and charge him with 6 murders. No, this guy was doing big things. And I'll just end it with that. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Catch up with you later. Peace out.